Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to another heart led conversation at HEN, where we go beyond the buzzwords and talk about what it really takes to build thriving businesses and communities. Um, I'm Ragvi Kurana. I'm the founder of HEN, just to give you a brief. Sorry, a founder of Nazaria, not founder of HEN. Um, today we have. Shanti with us, the founder of Satori, actually, and she is going to give us a bit more detail uh, about businesses and nurturing high performance teams. So, Shanti, please, I welcome you on board. It was lovely meeting you.
Thanks, Raghavi. Very happy to be here with all of you.
Yeah, so Shanti, just to give you a brief, is also a coach, a mentor, and people developer with nearly 3 decades of experience helping professionals turn potential into performance. Shanti, we're so excited to have you here. Let's start with the conversation. Um, Tell us, what is a high performance team and what makes a high performance team?
Um, I like to call it a thriving team. The moment we associate performance, I think we're associating with certain numbers, certain targets, certain metrics. When I say a high performing team, in my mind, it's a team that works well together, that gels well together, that lives well together, that supports and helps grow each other. That would be a high performing team for me.
Okay, that's quite interesting. What do you think would be the major values or key points of a high performance team?
Um, One, in a high performing team, you will not see hierarchy. You will not see that people are scared to speak up. There is enough psychological safety where people feel safe to speak up, to share what they are thinking, what they are feeling, their perspectives without any hesitation, irrespective of how new they are in the organization or how experienced they are. Irrespective of all of that, people feel safe to share. That is the first thing. It is also about a healthy competition, a fun competition, where it's not about winning over each other, it is winning with each other, where we are, yes, there is this internal, nudges keep happening. It's like, you know what, I got this appreciation from a client, all of that happens. But at the same time, when there is a team member who raises their hand and seeks help, I think the team jumps in to help, the team jumps in to support. That would be the value of a high performing team. It is how seamlessly and transparently communication flows, without any hidden agendas, without any facts being concealed. That would be the value of a high performing team for me.
Brilliant. Could you take us behind the scenes of a team transformation?
Hmm. Okay, I'm going to take you behind the scenes for two of the uh, incidents. One, while I was working for a corporate, I joined a multinational bank late in July. Being a bank, very risk averse, not a learning organization. There were People were only getting trained to do jobs. They were not actually learning stuff. They were only figuring out, how do I get my task done, how do I meet my metrics and targets, how do I become more productive. That was the only thing that people were learning. And uh, that was not an environment from where I had come. That did not resonate with me, and I wanted to change that a little bit. Went and spoke to my MD, who was really supportive. I said, I want to build a learning culture. I want to um, create something where people feel energized and engaged to learn. So in November, within a few months of me joining, we organized something that at back then I got had called it a learning week, and that tradition still continues in that organization. Um, so the learning week was all about learning, where we did uh, workshops. Of course, we had called several external vendors who would deliver short programs that were relevant to the audience. We identified leaders from within the organization who could present. We had panel discussions. We would share every day. A theme is announced in the morning, where we would share, some LinkedIn learning, some YouTube videos, Udemy videos that people can consume during the day. And there'll be a small quiz at the end to just celebrate and give out gifts. Uh, Not only work related stuff, we also, there was one paper bag making activity, or there was one cooking dishes in a healthy way. those kinds of classes were also arranged. So what happened during that week is the entire team in India, the India division, was so energized by what could transpire because of all the learning. So it's just about making it available and accessible to people. I think that was one huge transformation that I think about. Since this is for Hen Live, I think the second example I would want to take is me being an entrepreneur. How did I build that team that I really wanted? A few things that really I was very mindful of was I'm going to hire right. When I say hire right, I don't even look at the resume when I'm hiring. The HR shortlist based on certain experience, something. Even there, the guidelines is it's okay for people to not have fancy degrees. It's absolutely fine to not have an IIM in their profile. Uh, More importantly, are they passionate about what they would be doing in my organization? There are people who are creative designers who do my social media posts. Are they passionate about creating that artwork? There are people who write content. Are people passionate about writing content? I think that was my first thing. Am I identifying the right set of people? Not only that, as the team built and the team grew, I think I found it important to tie everybody together through one string. And that's where we very quickly define the organizational purpose, the values. And despite just being a 12-member team, we have a proper induction which walks them through the values and the purpose and how to align and what is accepted and not accepted. I think those things still resonate with me, and the team is coming along well together. So those would be the two things that I would talk about in terms of transformations that I've really lived through, and I have enjoyed being part of those.
It's very interesting what you say. I mean, a learning week is a great idea. I think I'm going to implement that tomorrow. Now, but this is definitely very interesting. What do you think? How do you think the leaders play a role in this in transformations, and what are the habits that leaders should have in their teams and high performing teams?
Great question. I think in the last 3 years as an entrepreneur, I've been a coach and I've coached several CXOs, several leaders. I think one thing which is very clear and strong is that high performing teams don't happen by accident. They are nurtured by the leaders. So the leaders are the ones who create that environment for a high performing team to thrive, to even exist. So what do they do? I think I've picked up from what I've observed from other leaders in terms of what I did in my organization. They definitely lead with purpose and clarity. They need to show what the organization stands for, what the team stands for. Only then will you be able to figure out, do the individual purposes, the individual needs, are they in alignment with the organizational goal and purpose? Once that alignment is established, you've onboarded the people, I think it's important to create that psychological safety where people feel free to speak up. They are willing to take risk and even make mistakes, knowing that I will be given guidance, but I will not be shown the door out, that you've made a mistake. You can't stay here. Uh, the leaders themselves need to model that openness and be, how do I put it? Be vulnerable, be okay not being perfect. That gives that safety within the team. They need to listen more than they speak. And I've heard this quote a lot, you've got 2 ears and one mouth, because you need to listen more and speak less. So that comes to me every time I talk about listening more. um, Leaders need to invest in their team's growth, um, and their own growth. Of course, they are part of the team. uh, they should see learning and growth and experiences and opportunities not that happen once in a while or during an annual review or once in a year. These are things that happen every single day, every single opportunity, every single uh, intervention, every single conversation could be made into a learning conversation. um, I think I've already mentioned it. You hire for passion and potential, and not just for the pedigree, for all the certificates that you've got. And it's how the leader engages with the team member that builds that connection within the team. Whether it's the boardroom, team huddle, I think leaders need to be human and not have that crown on their head, thinking that They don't want to be unreachable, they want to be approachable with the team. um, they can do that by celebrating wins, having open conversations, having fun together, having those lighter moments which is not about work, which is need not be about personal stuff. It could be trivial stuff that really bonds the team well together. So if I have to sum up, strong leaders have to build strong cultures. It's the culture that carries the team through any sort of challenge and opportunity.
Wow, that's very well explained, I must say. It's just there's so much learning that you've just given me in the last 2 minutes, 3 minutes. um, but also, when leaders are trying to figure this out, how do they create a balanced space of empathy and accountability? Especially when we know that the every team member adds a different value to the team, and every team member has a different skill.
Brilliant question again. Um, Especially in today's, diverse, multi-generational teams and organizations. Um, for me, empathy and accountability aren't against each other. I think they are partners. And how I see them as partners is empathy helps us understand um, where somebody is coming from, and accountability helps them move towards uh, their target, the point where they want to reach. And how can your question is how can leaders bridge that gap, bridge that connect? Definitely, it starts with clarity. Yeah, setting expectations, goals, values, purpose, the things that I spoke about, where everybody is aligned on what they are doing, why they are doing whatever they are doing, and how does it add up to the big picture. So if just giving you an example, if a creative designer, instead of saying I created a poster, instead of saying that, he or she is able to say, you know what, I created a poster that created visibility for the organization, for the facilitator, for the coach, got in 5 new registrations for the program. They are able to feel that much more prouder. Yeah, it's that clarity and passion with that the leader needs to bring in with that's the combination of empathy and accountability. This will come with lots of deep listening to the stories, struggles, and strengths. I know, and I keep saying we've been tutored from childhood to answer to the question, how are you? If I ask you, how would you answer, Raghavi? If I say, how are you, what would you answer?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm fine, thank you. Where did this answer come from? Did you even think about how you are feeling actually right now?
Not
Not at
really,
all,
no.
right? We don't think about these answers. These are all stereotypical answers that have been tutored from our kindergarten by our teachers, parents, friends, siblings, elders. That the answer for how are you is I'm fine. And if a leader accepts that answer and moves forward, assuming everything is fine, they've missed the point. Yeah, people are not actually thinking before they're responding to that how are you. Can a leader reframe the question, how is work today, what is stressing you out, what is making you joyful? Can they revert that question of um, how are you doing today, or how are you today, uh, to something that will make people think, because those were not questions they were asked as a childhood. Learn that answer. Parents would really make you rote learn, how are you, I am fine, thank you. They would make you learn that answer and practice before you go to school. So I think it's that kind of listening. Are my team members really okay when they say so? Because when people feel seen, they're more open to be challenged. So I know my team. I really ask them how they are doing, and I typically say, it's like a mom. She can scold her own children, but no neighbor should scold their children. No, it's exactly like that. I say, you know what, I'm going to scold you, but I will ensure that nobody is allowed to point a finger at you. So it's that kind of a relationship I have with my team. And finally, it's also about creating a culture where feedback is treated as a gift and not as something people want to avoid, not as a threat. Where people are, uh, my team is absolutely open to giving me feedback. In fact, they've said, no, I don't think we should be doing this program. You know, this generation will not like it, corporates will not like it. So they give me that kind of open feedback, and that so resonates because they are thinking from their perspective. Being a Gen Z or a Gen X, they're thinking from that mindset, and presenting their ideas, and we celebrate progress. We just celebrated our third year anniversary, and I think, the I did not literally did not do anything but review what they've done. They managed the whole show. The idea is to grow together and allow them to learn and make mistakes. Of course, we did have a lessons learned session after the event. What could we have done better? What can we keep in mind when we celebrate our next anniversary? So those are some things that really bring that balance between empathy and connection, ownership and accountability.
Hmm,
A
it's
long
quite
answer.
interesting.
Sorry, I'm not sure how much I could, how much of it
No, no, they
made sense.
just no, no. It all of it makes sense. There are a bunch of points and bunch of takeaways that you've given us here. I'm going to at this point take a question from Sapna Garg, who says, because it's very relevant right now, who says, how far lead by example is must for leaders to create a high performing team?
Absolutely must. Absolutely must. Um, it's like parenting. If I am always busy on my phone and I am not doing what I'm supposed to be doing at home, I cannot expect my children to not be on the phone and study or do whatever they are supposed to be doing. Yeah. So, team members are no good or bad. They're as good or bad as children. They are going to follow you. They look up to you because they've joined you for a particular reason, right? They resonate with your thoughts, your perspectives, your ideas. So they are going to look up to you and try to copy you also. That may sound, how will adults copy? The answer is yes. You do get influenced by how your leader behaves, executes themselves, practices, and conducts themselves in the team. It will happen that consciously or unconsciously you will start aping your leader. And if the leader is not the role model, chances are you're not nurturing a team that is a role. So you are yourself on the phone and asking your kid not to be on the phone. That will not work.
Interesting, interesting. There's another question that I think is quite relevant right now, by a LinkedIn user. It says nowadays trial and fire method is being used very casually by leaders. What is your take on it?
Trial and hire. So you're
Trial
talking
and
about,
fire.
you know, so it is a good thing. It is a good thing if executed in a healthy way. Yeah. What is the message you are giving to the people when you're putting people on a probation? You are saying that, we're going to try you out for the next 3 months before we confirm you. I think those are good practices from both the sides. The organize so when we are appearing for an interview, of course we will put our best foot forward. We will want to showcase all things bright and beautiful, and in reality they may not be so. Um, and when when the rubber hits the road, I think a lot of it becomes that much more evident how much people are able to perform to what they had committed to. So I think 3 to 4 months is a good enough time frame for people to gauge, for leaders to gauge, is the team member able to deliver what they intended to. It is also equally important for the team member to gauge, is this the kind of organization I want to work with? Is this the kind of leader I want to work with? Is it the kind of team members I want to work with? Am I enjoying what I'm doing? Can I continue doing this for the next year, 2 years, 5 years? So it's both ways. So though that trial period is an amazing thing.
Okay, so it's interesting when you say that a leader and a team member has to work both ways. So this is more like a partnership than actually an employment when you actually think of it that way, right?
It is.
Um, so when this happens, are there any certain team rituals that a high performing team must have, or any team habits or tools that a high performing team must use, particularly with their leaders or without their leaders?
um, my policy is the leader should make themselves redundant. The leader should not have any role in terms of how the team functions. Yeah, whether the leader is there or not, the team should still be able to deliver, still be able to perform. And that does not happen on day one. Of course, the leader has to create that environment to make themselves redundant. Things that the leader can do is ensure that everything has one source of truth, whether it is the project requirements, project status, project progress. Everybody knows where to go and look for it. It is there in one digital format, uh, and it is not hidden. It's not that only the managers are able to see certain data or team members are not able to see. Nothing of that sort. It is all out in the open. and people can go and check what is the other team member doing. Can I help that team member? Is there an interesting part of their role that I can tell my manager, hey, that person is doing such an interesting thing, I would also want to learn. Can we create that openness and transparency? So one source of truth is something that I really live by. Second, those regular check-ins. Now, check-ins does not mean a status meeting. Tell me, what did you do last week, what progress have you made. Check-in in reality is that check-in. How are you feeling today? No, what can make you happier? Even seeking feedback. How can I be a better leader to you? All of those questions to be included as a part of the regular check-ins. The regular work will anyways happen. I mean, there is no way you can't follow up on regular work. Clarity on breaks is very, very important. I don't know how to put it. you know I've just completed a project. I need a day before I can begin my next project. Can I take that pause? Are you as a leader willing to allow that pause? Are you as a leader uh, asking your team, I am working till late, why aren't you? Those are not things that will enable healthy work life balance. Will also create that sense of how much more am I supposed to contribute to the organization for the money that they are paying me? So I think that, how much is enough, that has to be calibrated. As a founder, it is my organization. I will, of course, go all out. Even if a client wants a call with me at 9 p.m., I will say yes. But my team members don't have that obligation. They don't need to. As a leader, I discourage, you can switch off at 6. That's all you need to be doing. Yes, there have been times where I have requested for a stretch when there is something really critical, and I've rewarded and recognized for that too. And creating, as a leader, can I create that culture of peer recognition, peer appreciation? Um, so people like to come to work. They're very happy about working because they know if I'm doing good work, somebody will notice and tell me that, hey, good job, wonderful, great thing that's happening. Again, this is human conditioning. I think we are not trained to notice when things are working well. We are only trained to notice when things are not working well. And again, I keep giving this example. We will never call up an Airtel or an AC True to tell them that, the broadband was amazing. I had my call, nothing broke down, everything went fine. None of us will do that. But the moment the broadband is disconnected, we will all immediately give a call. Hey, I was on an important call. When is it coming up? I can't wait for an hour. Do something sooner. So we are trained to only observe when things are not working well. Can we as leaders train the team to observe when things are going right? Even if it's not an appreciation, can it be an acknowledgement saying that, this is what was expected and you did exactly that. Thank you for staying true to your role. Even that is very motivational for team members. What else? Having open forums where everybody gets to share, not just the leader directing in terms of what direction we are going, what do we want to do, what we don't want to do. Are people's agreements, um, are people contracting or signing in to what you're trying to do, is equally important. In fact, I would want to call out Hen. I joined the Jerry Blair Foundation, and I got a mentor who got assigned to me. I just completed my final session with her last week, and she was so happy with how the team has come up. She has promised to send me a note that I can forward to my team. Because I keep talking about, this is what the team did, this is what they did, this is what happened. So she's agreed to send a note to my team while I was her mentee. So you can imagine how strong the team is.
No, I definitely. I mean, as a leader, I can definitely resonate to it because as a leader, I'm always just focused on what is going wrong and we need to fix it, fix this, fix that, fix that, fix
Yeah.
that. So this is a very interesting mindset that you've given us. Rather than fixing things, look at what is actually going correct, and then you can fix things on the side as well. So this is a very interesting. Switch of mindset, I would say, a switch of perspective. While we're talking about this, let's also talk about EQ. How important do you think emotional intelligence is, and how do you think leaders that can help or not help, or does that even fit into the system of nurturing high performance teams?
Oh, loaded question. Yeah. Uh,
Sorry.
yeah, where do I start? None of this can happen without emotional intelligence. Yeah, let's start there. Emotional intelligence is that quiet engine, drive behind the trust and the momentum that teams possess. Uh, it can show up in so many ways. Um, is a leader reacting or responding? Are people willing to call out the elephant in the room? Are they able to say that, what, this project is very stressful, I didn't enjoy working on this project, or this is not the kind of work I would do. They have that freedom to even share what they're feeling, thinking, experiencing? Um, and when leaders ask, how are you doing, do they really sit down to listen when the team has those stories to share? What happened? And it can be a half an hour story that your team member shares about what transpired over the weekend, or how they are planning an upcoming event in their family, or whatever it be. As a leader, do you have time, energy, patience to listen to their stories? Or are you in a hurry to move on to the next? Hey, I don't have time. Can we talk about it later? You're missing out that opportunity to show that you are emotionally intelligent, to show that you can connect with the others. So, EQ does help the team feel safe, seen, supported, recognized. And this safety is what encourages them to speak up, to take risks, to creatively, innovate, or to collaborate. I think without EQ, leadership cannot exist. Teams cannot exist.
Okay, so my takeaway then is, it's not that you think you have EQ or emotional intelligence. You also have to show it to your team time and again. Am I
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's go to the last section and let's do a quick rapid fire just for everyone to get some quick takeaways. Um, First one, what do you think one thing a leader should start doing right now to nurture their team?
Let go. Let go of the definitions of good and perfect according to them, and just help the team member arrive at their definition of perfection. So it is not what you want, it's what the team member wants.
One myth that is, I mean, one myth about high performance teams.
Pressure cookers don't work. I don't know how to put it. You can't just set KPIs, targets, and metrics and chase people to it. It will not work. It will burn people out. It will break people down. It will break people away. I think you create the environment and they will decide there. In fact, they will excel the targets that you have in mind, if the right environments exist.
Hmm. Okay, great, interesting. uh, I'm just going to take up, there are a bunch of questions here. I'll start taking up these questions one by one. So there's one question which says, we'd love to bring you into a conversation. Sorry, my mistake. um, ah, Culture Katha says, any two, three, or five good books out there for leaders to shape themselves or team or work.
Fearless organization, and because it's hen and it's women entrepreneurs, how women rise. um,
So, Fearless Organization is by who?
Amy Edmondson.
Amy Edmondson. Okay.
Yeah. Sally Helgeson is the author of How Women Rise. I think it's a must for all women. A prequel to How Women Rise is What Got You Here Won't Get You There, in terms of people in leadership, written by Marshall Goldsmith. um,
Okay.
Uh, Carol Dweck's Mindset is one of my all time. It's a very dry read, very boring read, but the value that the book generates is amazing.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so now one question on emotional intelligence. How personal is too personal when we talk about emotional intelligence?
Um, Let the other person decide what is personal to them. There are people who are very open, being vulnerable, showing their emotions to the other. So when you ask them how is work going, you will see lots of emotions. Oh, that person said that, that client said that didn't work. You will see it in their facial expressions and how they are sharing the story. There would be others who would just laugh it off and say, I'm just sailing through. They both mean the same. How personal, let the other person decide.
Interesting. That's definitely an interesting perspective. Another question, last question, I think. Do your team members call you ma'am or sir? Especially with the interns who come to you from college for a couple of months. And can I change that, or should I change that?
My answer is yes, you should change that. Very true. I think interns are coming from that college, seniors, professors mindset. They do tend to start calling you ma'am and sir. I keep asking them to call me by the first name. Some of them have changed, not all. It's very uncomfortable for them. And some of them have said, ma'am, you're as old as my mom. I can't call you by by your first name. One of the employees, her mother was my friend. She says, she used to call me auntie before that, and at office she hesitated to call me auntie, so she said, you know what, I can't call you by first name, after auntie first name doesn't sit with me, so I'm going to call you Shanti ma'am. Yeah, so it's the intent is that they call me by their first names, but it is not easy for them either.
Yeah, so a lot of people are not comfortable calling us by like the leaders by first name. I figured out a hack, and I'm gonna ask you if that works or not. So I work with 60, 65-year-old people roughly. So I call them G, they call me G. Do you think something like that works?
Hmm. I wouldn't be comfortable being called as a G. It's still a mark of a respect. Yeah. uh, Do I call people G? The answer is yes. Do people call me G? The answer is yes. But a truly equal culture is when I address you as Raghavi and you address me as Shanti, without any prefixes and suffixes.
Interesting, interesting. Thank you, Shanti. Thank you so much for so many insights and so many takeaways, for grounding us with really what really matters, to giving us that information, um, and for making sure that we work on people first teams and not leader first teams, to be specific. Um, for everyone else, if you want to connect to Shanti, please check out her LinkedIn. Also visit Grow with Satori, right?
Yes,
Grow with Satori, and please keep everyone else. Please keep sending your comments and your likes, and let's learn and grow together. Thank you so much, Shanti. Thank you, everyone.
most welcome. Most welcome.